Today we will discuss about the connective tissue. What mean by tissue? Tissue is composed of similar cells. Similar means same kind of cells that are specialized to perform a common functions. So all similar kind of the cells which performing a common function, it is called the tissue. Adult primary type of the tissue forms the fabric of human organism. It is the mainly epithelial tissue which covering either it lining to the cavity, either it externally cover or either it is internally lining the cavity. Connective tissue which supports the mainly muscle tissue, nervous tissue. The epithelial tissue structural characteristic cellularity. Epithelial tissue are composed of tightly packed sheet of cells with little intercellular materials between them. So epithelial tissue, it is composed of tightly packed cells with little intercellular material between them. Polarity. Epithelial tissue exhibit polarity and always have a free surface, apical surface which open to the outsides or internal space, or it is also called the lumen. The free surface may possess modifications like presence over the epithelium, there is a microvilli, increase the membrane surface area, cilia, aid in movement of the substance across the layer. Another characteristic, general structural characteristic, the epithelium which is always lies on the basement membrane. What is basement membrane? The basal surface of the epithelial tissue are anchored to the underlying connective tissue by distinct basement membrane. So epithelium always lies over the basement membrane and it anchor to the cells. Specialized contact that epithelium may possess include the tight junctions. Tight junction, it is the space between the two cells. In this, there is a zipper-like junctions that prevent the intercellular leakage. So it is the two adjacent cells which is tightly closed. The same way into the lower part, there is a space between the two cells. It is desmosome. It holds the adjacent cells. Therefore, the layer of the cells together. So desmosome to hold the adjacent cells together, so that's why the cells remain together. The avascularity, epithelium tissue which is avascular, it no blood vessels. Epithelial tissue which is nourished by nutrients which diffuse upwards from the underlying connective tissue through the basement membrane. The epithelium tissue have a further, there is a general structure characteristic like regenerations, highly regenerations capacity due to the rapid cell division. Locations, epithelial tissue cover us and line us. The covering to the body like epidermis of the skin, and the ventral cavity organ, visceral serous membranes. Lining internal space, lumen of the intestine, line the body cavity like parietal membrane, pleural membrane, line the duct of the exocrine gland, it is the sweat glands. The function of the epithelium mainly protections like the epidermis, absorption, lining of the intestine which mainly the cells which absorb, secretions. Most of the duct of the glands, excretions, epidermis, that is the example, and also lining of the kidney capillaries, and there is a filtration lining of the kidney capillaries, it is the filtration functions. Here you can see this is the diagram of the epithelium, different kind of the epitheliums. Here you can see this is the cell membrane, this is the tight junctions. Here you can see it prevents the leakage. This is the desmosome which hold the two cells together, and the gap junction, it is to diffuse the nutrient or waste product from one cells to the other cells. Now we will discuss about the classification of the tissue. The classification of the epithelium, or the plural it is called the epithelia, singular it is called the epithelium. Many epithelial tissue classified according to their shape and number of the layers. The simple means there is a single layer of the cells. Stratified means many layer of the cells. Squamous means the cells which is flattens, the length which is more than the flattened cells, with a breadth which is more than the length. Cuboidal, where the length and breadth are equal, it is the squamous shapes. Columnar, where there is a length which is more than the breadth, it is the elongated cells. So this is the meaning of the epithelial cells. Now the classification of the epithelia. The first one is the simple epithelium. Simple epithelium, it first number, it is a simple squamous epithelium. Simple means there is a single layer. Squamous means there is a flattening layers where there is a breadth is more than the length, and single layer of the flattened cells generally allow easy passage or diffusion of the substance. Wherever there is a maximum exchange of the diffusions which is occur inside the body, these places there is a presence of the simple squamous epithelium. It lining to the air sacs of the lungs, means alveoli of the lungs, lining capillaries where there is a exchange also nutrient waste products. Here there is a inside the air sacs of the lungs with there is a exchange of the oxygen and carbon dioxides. Lining of the body cavity, pleural and peritoneal cavity, covering of the ventral organ, mainly the visceral peritoneum. So this is the about to the simple squamous epithelium. Here you can see this is the breadth which is more than the length. So it is the flattened cells. Here you can see. Here you can see from the top view, you can see it is a scale-like, and from the side view it is the flattening of the cells. The another type of the simple epithelium, which is the simple cuboidal epithelium. Simple means single layer, cuboidal means there is a length and breadth is equal. So single layer of the square shaped cells where there is a length and breadth are equal. It is large, centrally located nuclei. The main function of this epithelium, which is secretion as well as absorption. The locations of this kind of the simple cuboidal epithelium, which lining the kidney tubules, PCT and DCT mainly, lining duct of the glands, mainly the thyroid glands, covering surface of the ovary are the example of the simple squamous simple cuboidal epithelium. Here you can see these are the cells which length and breadth are equals. The nucleus which is centrally placed. So we already discussed it is present inside the mainly into the gland, mainly the thyroid glands. Here you can see, as well as it is present inside the renal tubules. It is the example. Third one is the simple columnar epithelium. The length which is more than the breadth It is called the single layers of the elongated cell with basally located nuclei, always nuclei which lies near to the base. The main function of this kind of the cell, which is protection, absorption and secretions, and it lies located, it lining the small intestine, lining to the uterus, and there is some modification of this kind of the cells which is seen inside our body. There is a presence of microvilli. Main function of the increase the surface area of microvilli, it increased the surface area nearly 100 times, and also presence of the goblet cell which secretes the protective mucus, mainly the goblet cells which is more present inside the large intestine, and microvilli which is present inside the small intestine. Here you can see this is the example of the elongated cells. It is the columnar cells. The fourth type of the simple epithelium, it is the pseudo stratified columnar. Pseudo means false. It is pseudo means false stratified. Actually, it is a single layer of the elongated cells with scattered nuclei, that is look stratified but are not. All cells touch to the basement membrane, and the main function of this kind of the epithelium, it is a single layer but it look like stratified. That's why it is called the pseudo stratified columnar epithelium. Main function, it is the secretion and protections. Location, it lining to the trachea and as well as inside the bronchi and lining to the fallopian tube. Some free surface, there is a modifications which is lies cilia. The main function of the cilia which trap the debris and aid the passage of the mucus up and out of the airway. So ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium which is present inside the respiratory tract, and also there is a presence of the goblet cell which produce mucus which coat the cilia, help to trap the debris. So these are the main four type of the simple epithelium, mainly the simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar and pseudo columnar epithelium. So here you can see this is the diagram. It is the single cells. Always you have to remember all these cells. It is attached to the basement membrane. Even it is uneven shape and different sides of the cells. All the cells which is always touched to the basement membrane. The other type of the epithelium, it is the stratified epithelium. The first one is the stratified squamous epithelium. Many layer of the flattened cell on the upper sides and lower cells which is the columnar in shapes. So basal cells are the columnar in shapes, one or two layers, and remaining many layers are flattened cells. Main the function of this kind of the epithelium which protect where there is a wear and tear, where there is a frictions which is occurs. So it is the two type of the stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized and keratinized. Keratinized, it is the one kind of the proteins and which is dead proteins which is over the epidermis of the skin. So keratinized stratified squamous epithelium which is present over the skin, while the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium which lining to the mouth, throat, vagina and anus, because inside the mouth and throat there is a food bolus which lead to the frictions. That's why it is protecting, and it is the presence inside the vagina. There is a friction during the intercourse, and anus whenever there is a passing of the stool, it also lead to there is a friction. That's why stratified squamous epithelium which is present wherever there is a wear and tear or wherever there is a frictions which is occur. That's why it is the protecting in natures. So here you can see this is the one of the diagram. Here the basal layers which is columnar, and so basal layer, it is the lower columnar, low columnar in shape, it is 2 to 3 layers. After that it is the polygonal, and there is a upper, it is a flattened cells. So this is about to the stratified squamous epithelium. Here this is the another diagram, it is the stratified squamous epithelium. Another type of the epithelium, it is the stratified cuboidal epithelium. The stratified cuboidal epithelium, where there is a basal layer which is the 2 to 3 layers are cuboidals. After that the superficial layer which is the comparatively flattened, and which is present inside the mammillary glands, sweat glands and salivary glands. Stratified columnar epithelium, it is the basal 2 to 3 layers which is elongated and it is columnar, and remaining cells are flattened, and which is located inside the vas deferens and part of the male urethra, not whole urethra but part of the male urethra, also fornix of the conjunctiva. And the last one is the transitional epithelium, many layer of the cells that change in shape in response to the tensions. The characteristic of this transitional epithelium, there is a tight junctions, it does not absorb any kind of the materials because it is passing from this, there is a excretory material, and also it is stretchable. So transit means it there is a different kind of it continuously changes in shape whenever there is a filling. So main function, it is the distensibility, stretches easily to allow the urine to fill in bladder, location inside the urinary bladder as well as ureter. It is the example of the transitional epithelium. So here you can see this is the stratified cuboidal epithelium which is present inside the sweat glands and salivary glands. Here you can see, and this is the stratified columnar epithelium which is present inside the vas deferens, and you can see this is the transitional epithelium, and the most top layer, it is the cap shaped cells as well as it is the presence of the umbrella shape of the cells, you have to remember. So this is about to the basic about to the epithelium. Hope you enjoy the lecture. Thank you very much.